Physio Web Series X-rays Season 1. Series 1. So let's begin with Series 1. We will be discussing about X-rays, specifically chest X-rays. So let's have a look at the normal chest X-ray. There are two terms basically to keep in mind. Those are radio opacity and radiolucency, or radio opaque or radiolucent. Opaque means white, lucent means black or dark. In X-ray, if you are seeing opacity, that means the whiter part, and lucency or lucent means the blacker part. In between there is grayish part, which we also call as shadow. Now let's see about radio opacities. That means whiter part. Normally bone or metal, those things will absorb X-rays and they will appear white. So bone appears white or opaque on X-rays. This is because bone is more dense as compared to air. We know that bone will be more dense. So because of its higher density, it will appear white as it will absorb the X-rays. So density is also the key point to understand opacity and lucency. Opacity is white, lucency is black or dark. Now let's see radiolucency. So lucent means black, and on normal X-ray, which is normal aerated lung tissue, the presence of air will allow those X-rays to pass through plate and appear black. It will not absorb. Instead, it will allow the X-rays to pass through plate and hence will appear black. That is lucent. And now, as we know, air is less denser. Air has less density, and that's why it will appear black or lucent or darker. So on normal X-ray, bone will appear white or opaque and air will appear black or darker or lucent, because air has less density, so it will allow the X-rays to pass through the plate and appear blacker. Bone has more density, it is more dense, so it will not allow the X-rays to pass, hence appear white or opaque. So here we can see in this X-ray, bone, the ribs, as we can see, the clavicle and other parts, they appear opaque or white in color, as they are allowing the X-rays to get absorbed, and that's why they appear white. But the aerated lung tissue, which is appearing black, can be clearly seen over here. So that lung tissue which is aerated, presence of air which is less dense, will give darker appearance, will appear black, that is lucent. Now we know what is a normal chest X-ray. Basic points to distinguish. On the basis of this, we will be discussing two examples of abnormal X-rays, which will include pneumonia and pleural effusion. So let's see that. Let's discuss about the abnormal lesions found on chest X-ray, considering two examples. First of all, pneumonia, and the second will be pleural effusion. So starting with pneumonia, in pneumonia there is solidification of the lung tissue due to the presence of fluid or pus, so which we call as consolidation. So consolidation is seen in lung tissue, due to which there may be grayish appearance that is shadow may appear on chest x-ray, or white, that is opacity, may appear, which can be seen over here clearly. So because of consolidation of that lung tissue, that part may appear grayish or whiter. If it appears grey, we call it shadow appearance, and if it appears white, we call it opaque x-ray, opaque chest x-ray. That was about pneumonia. Now let's continue with second example, which is of pleural effusion. In pleural effusion also we can see increased opacity. That is, in pleural effusion there will be increased amount of fluid, excessive fluid. So this pleural fluid will cause increased opacity and it will appear whiter on the chest x-ray. Whereas in normal condition we know that air allows the x-rays to pass through the plate and will appear lucent or darker. Instead, over here in pleural effusion we can see the opacity. So now let's focus on the key points. Due to this increased opacity in white, that is whiter appearance on the chest x-ray in pleural effusion, let's consider this chest x-ray of pleural effusion. We can see the radio opacity, and because of this there are three signs. First of all, the pleural fluid which is accumulating, it can be seen here as meniscus with the upper border concave. Another thing is that there is obliteration of those claustrophrenic angles. So in normal chest x-ray we can see those claustrophrenic angles are sharply pointed. This is normal chest x-ray. We can appreciate the claustrophrenic angles very clearly over here because of the radiolucency. But now, as we saw in pleural effusion, there is opacity clearly seen, and that's why those claustrophrenic angles are obliterated. Can be seen on both of these chest x-rays. The third sign is Silhouette sign, that is the interface between this fluid or the effusion and the heart borders and the hemidiaphragm is indistinct, which is called as Silhouette sign. So three things: meniscus, then Silhouette sign, and the obliteration of those claustrophrenic angles can be seen. In this example we can see there is massive left side pleural effusion. We can clearly see the radio opacity. That was about the chest x-ray, normal one and the abnormal one, considering two examples at least, pneumonia and pleural effusion. Hope that this was helpful for you.